What's happening, party people? Welcome to Blues Lawyer Confessional. This is Jack, and I'm here at Shoestrings. This is Daniel Heo. Cool. We're going to check out the shop and learn about how Daniel and friends make your guitar sound and play its best. Let's go.
So this is our tech room. This is where most of our work gets done. All our setup work, final assembly, some minor paint work gets done here. We're a pretty project-friendly tech shop. This is a guitar that a customer actually put together, but they just needed a little help with the bridge layout. They didn't want to mess it up, so we're gonna help them out. So this is an Emerald. This model, I guess, came only with the piezo pickup, and he wanted to get a magnetic pickup installed. So we got the magnetic pickup on. It's been epoxy because it's going to be permanent.
Okay.
And then I just need to wire it up to the Graphtec Ghost system. And drill another hole for magnetic volume and a quick switch.
Have more tonal options, but blending the bridge and the magnetic pickup.
Right. This is my future number one. I'm never gonna finish it. I never get time to work on my own instruments. It did not have a Floyd on it. I put a Floyd on it. It obviously didn't have True Temperament either, but
And it's 7-string.
it is a 7-string. 7-string Les Paul shape is very hard to come by.
To make your rock.
It used to be, they called it Ghost White or something like that.
Okay.
It's a Keith Merrill KM7. But yeah, I wasn't a fan of the color, so I actually just stripped the whole top and working on refinishing it. So purple stain, and the finish has been surused, which is how you get those black grain lines. And I'm gonna burst it and then clear over it.
So you use the whiskey to stain the fretboard, or is that?
That's definitely something you don't want to drink. That is all our the solvents and cleaners and
cool.
leftover paints. Yeah, that would be
Old Forester is also the same. It's no different.
Yeah, so the largest thing with paint, and anybody who paints a lot will tell you, the key is in the prep. And basically, people just don't sand enough. Yeah.
Never stop sanding.
It's all sanding. Every stage is just a lot of very careful, tedious sanding.
Headstock repair.
Headstock repair. Yeah.
Awesome.
Probably have at least 3 headstock repairs at any given time. I love Gibsons, but you know.
Hagstrom with a new fretboard.
So this Hagstrom, it's an actual vintage piece that was purchased new by the owner.
Okay.
And he just never played it that much. So yeah, he wanted to convert it to a fretless, so we did that. This is our bass test rig. We got 2 Mark bass cabs, a 410 and a 115. Because you got to go all the way, right?
Yeah.
And this is the flagship Ashdown head, which is the rack version. So
And it's in a rack, so you take this out.
no. If I would actually play out, I probably would take this out. Yeah. But I mean, we have a lot of pro bass players, so I need something pro to test with. And it gets loud.
Your Yamaha acoustic here. I see you've got the tempered frets.
Yeah. So these are all my actual personal instruments. Some of these, especially these 2, don't ever leave the shop. They're just kind of test bed for different pickups and things that we can do. The acoustic, this is my only acoustic actually.
Okay.
It's been through 3 different fretboards. The last one that's on it now is actually True Temperament. That I really have been interested in True Temperament since I saw its inception like 15 years ago, whatever it was. But they finally made a kit, and I had to get the kit and put it on the guitar to finally hear it, and it's worth all the trouble. So yeah.
Finally, your acoustic guitar can be in tune and intonated properly.
My Bogner 20th anniversary Ecstasy, it does amazing cleans, and it has more than enough gain. So so for a test amp, it works really well. This guitar was my old number one. It's a Hondo is not at all a good brand of guitars. Literally, when I got it for free, and nothing worked on it. Like the strings didn't even play even with the action up. But redid everything, and just lots of tinkering, lots of experimenting with it.
I've noticed a trend with the logo on the body of the guitar.
Yeah, so this is something, it's a logo I kind of designed when I was an intern back in school. And it's a lot of work to put it on a guitar, so if I like it enough to keep it, the logo usually finds its way kind of on it. This bass is another one of my, this is my only bass kind of things. And of course,
you don't have enough switches on it.
Changed everything on it. This bass for our bass players is interesting because it has 3 preamps on it, which you can switch.
Okay, you can see the guts shot.
A lot of, we're a dealer for Nordstrand and Aguilar, which are 2 of the large bass preamp companies. And I had them pretty early, and I got asked by a lot of customers, what's the difference between the OBP3 and the Nordstrand 3B, and
now you can
eventually I just put them on the same bass. There was a few different changes, but I put them in the same bass, and now they can test the 2 preamps with the same pickups in the same bass, and normally in about 15 seconds they know which one they like more. It's an instant thing. There's no thinking about it. They just know which one they like more.
Yeah, and you don't have enough selections on the Hondo either. You got a lot of options.
Yeah, so this was kind of an exercise in wiring. I was going for a very specific sound, but I kind of wanted all the sounds and just to experiment.
This is the for sale section on Reverb for your store. We'll have a link right here.
So we have we do a lot of consignment. We have some interesting things come in. I mean, obviously we're not Guitar Center. Some interesting builds
and these are from your customers who have their guitars worked on here, and then they have you sell for them. You're an LR Bags shop, for a dealer.
Yeah, we're a dealer for several brands. Obviously our focus is more parts and such, given what we do, but yeah, we have LR Bags, Fishman, Seymour Duncan, DiMarzio, DMG. I've been working on guitars pretty much since I've started playing 20 plus years ago. I've always tinkered, from my first guitar to, of course, now obviously, but when I got to school, everyone was always giving me their broken stuff to fix, and I got tired of doing it for free. So 2010, I just launched a business, and I was fixing guitars out of my room, and I just kept it as a side business for a while, and then things grew and grew, and eventually there was no place to sit in my home because it was just filled with custom-made guitars, so I launched the store. I'd argue that one of the best reasons to get a guitar professionally set up as opposed to just doing it yourself is, especially when you first get it, just to kind of have everything gone through. So basically when you do a setup, all the problems of the guitar can come out. So if you just get a guitar, whether it's new or used, you can tell whether it has neck issues once you try to set the action to where you want it. Even if it has maybe a minor neck issue, if the strings can go to the height that you want, there's not an issue. But sometimes you find some nasty surprises, either with the neck and frets, or actually with the electronics, especially when people have had pickup swaps or component swaps done. There have been some things I have seen.
I think a lot of folks aren't good at soldering and following the wiring diagram.
Yeah, soldering is its own kind of skill. It's not always, even some people that can do amazing finish work, they may not be able to solder the best,
I always have a hard time connecting to the back of the pots.
Yeah, you're not spending enough time with the heat. We don't use, I've never used flux, and I've never scratched the pot, so.
Fair enough. I watched a YouTube video once, I felt empowered. All right, what do you think is the best bang for your buck guitar modification? I know it's a personal question, but what do you think the best value guitar mod is for the average person out there?
You kind of have to split it up based on tier of the instrument. So,
all right, so let's go S tier.
Right. So I think kind of in the budget entry range, the best bang for the buck is literally going to be whatever's the worst thing about the guitar, the thing that bothers you the most about the guitar. That's where you should put your money. If it's just a good, decent playing guitar and looks good, but just doesn't sound right, obviously the answer is pickups, right? If it's a guitar that sounds good, looks good, plays good, but just won't stay in tune, money's best spent on a nut. Where for our intermediate guitars, you know, like the $1,500, $2,000 range, I'd argue the best upgrade is actually just to get it fret leveled, because that's really what's going to make it feel and play like a much more expensive guitar. And then in the high end, that's pretty similar to the budget thing. It's just whatever bugs you most about the guitar.
So what's the wildest or wackiest modification you've had requested of you or that you've done?
Our shop does some of the pretty heavy lifts and interesting mods, rebuilds, and everything. But I think the most extreme one I've done was probably I converted a Dean 7-string into a fretless with a brass fingerboard and no radius. So I actually had to design the fretboard, send it off to get cut, and then it came back, and then I have to attach it to the guitar somehow and then make it feel like an instrument.
How did you attach that?
That was wild. After I tested several different adhesives, and my memory serves me right, I believe I settled on a 2-part epoxy.
The wood and the metal, like the similar materials, will expand and contract at different rates. So that's problematic.
There was a lot of testing prior to.
What's the coolest thing you're working on right now?
One of the more interesting ones might be we've got a very, very beautiful Sadowski SS15, which we are. Well, the owner wants to kind of disassociate himself with a brand.
Okay.
So we had to replace the whole headstock veneer. We're putting on like inlaying like a piece of, just a portion of some famous painting onto the headstock, and then we're replacing all the binding on the neck with flame maple binding, which will be paint matched to the body, and then we're doing a larger pickguard that's also going to be paint matched to the body. Stainless steel frets.
So it becomes a truly individualized personal guitar.
Right.
It's unique. What's the most messed up guitar you've ever seen?
So we've seen some pretty messed up guitars that don't work, or I mean, I have advised a handful of customers just to not bother at times, but sometimes guitars actually are sentimental. So I had this one customer bring in this one handmade guitar from, I forget which country, but essentially it was his mother's, who had just passed. So she had this guitar. It was in like 7 different pieces, cracks all over the place. And I mean, normally it would be something I would just advise not to mess with, but put it all back together, paint matched it, made it look kind of worn. So, the damage was kind of like part of it, and that was both a fulfilling but challenging project. So
a dummy like me, what mistakes would I typically make on my own setup that the professional would obviously do much better at?
The largest myth that's just wrong is that the guitar necks need to be completely straight. You don't want it completely straight, you need just a little bit of relief. If you make it completely straight, you're gonna end up with more buzz than you have to deal with.
Less fiddling, more playing.